Why do the brightest minds often walk alone? Why do those who see the world with unparalleled clarity, those who think beyond the noise, often find themselves standing on the edge, observing while others rush blindly forward? It is not weakness, and it is not failure. It is the signature of intelligence, of awareness, of a mind unwilling to settle for mediocrity. There is a quiet power in solitude, a force that cannot be measured by social approval or shallow applause. The truth is, the world was never built for shallow thinkers. It was built by those willing to stand alone, to endure silence, and to trust the voice inside when the world shouts for conformity. Consider the countless innovators, the visionaries, the leaders whose names echo through history. They were not always surrounded by admirers or followers. Einstein spent hours lost in thought, wrestling with concepts no one else could fathom. Nikola Tesla wandered the streets, absorbed in visions that would reshape humanity, while the world labeled him eccentric. These people understood a truth most never grasp: greatness demands space to think, to feel, to plan, to grow. They embraced the discomfort of being different because they knew that comfort is the enemy of progress, and popularity is a shallow substitute for purpose. And this is where most of us stumble. We fear being alone. We fear silence. We fear the reflection staring back at us in an empty room. Yet it is precisely in that stillness that clarity is born. Solitude is not loneliness. It is the forge where your mind sharpens, where your ideas crystallize, where your soul aligns with the purpose you were born to fulfill. Every hour spent in distraction, in noise, in the desperate attempt to please or fit in, is an hour stolen from your potential. Intelligent minds instinctively know this. They reject the easy crowd, the meaningless chatter, and the shallow applause because they recognize that every distraction steals the energy required to build a life of impact. So if you find yourself walking alone, standing apart from the crowd, know this: you are not broken. You are awakening. You are stepping into the rare and beautiful space where vision is born. The world may not understand you now, and it may never fully embrace the depth of your thoughts, but that does not diminish your power. In fact, it amplifies it. Your solitude is your strength. Your quiet determination is the prelude to brilliance. Every moment you spend cultivating your mind, nurturing your skills, and trusting your instincts is an investment in a future only you can create. Embrace it. Walk your path with confidence. Protect your energy, honor your mind, and resist the pull of the crowd. Greatness is never comfortable. It is never easy, and it is never crowded. The smartest people stay alone not because they have nothing to give. They stay alone because they have everything to give, and they understand that giving begins with themselves. There is a profound truth that the world rarely admits. The smarter you are, the harder it becomes for others to understand you. Your thoughts move faster, your questions run deeper, your vision stretches beyond what most are willing to see. And when your mind operates on this higher plane, isolation is not just inevitable, it is necessary. The misunderstood mind is not a curse, it is a sign of extraordinary awareness. Every time you feel disconnected, every time your insights go unrecognized, or your intentions are misread, remember this: intelligence cannot be diluted to make others comfortable. You are not out of place. You are simply ahead of your time. Think about those who dared to see differently, who refused to conform. Steve Jobs was famously considered difficult, even arrogant, because he demanded excellence, clarity, and vision. He challenged everyone around him, not to hurt them, but because he saw a reality beyond their comprehension. When you think critically, when you question assumptions, when you refuse to settle for mediocrity, people will resist. They will label you as odd, distant, or aloof. But remember, their inability to grasp your perspective does not diminish its power. It highlights your courage to rise above the ordinary. Being misunderstood is, in fact, one of the greatest signs that you are on the right path. It means you are thinking independently, refusing to be swayed by the noise of popular opinion. It means your mind is sharp enough to notice what others ignore, to ask questions others avoid, to pursue solutions others dismiss. Every criticism, every raised eyebrow, every whispered judgment is a signal. You are creating space for brilliance, and brilliance, by its nature, cannot fit into the boxes the world tries to force upon it. Here's the key. The misunderstood mind thrives not in despair, but in purpose. The moment you embrace your uniqueness, the moment you stop seeking validation from the easily satisfied, is the moment your power becomes unstoppable. Solitude becomes your ally, clarity becomes your weapon, and focus becomes your superpower. You learn to trust your intuition even when the world doubts you, to act boldly even when they question your motives, and to pursue your vision relentlessly even when the path feels lonely. And the reward is enormous. The mind that is misunderstood is the mind that will innovate, create, lead, and inspire. It is the mind that will solve problems no one else can, see opportunities no one else notices, and change lives in ways the crowd cannot imagine. Being misunderstood is not a setback. It is the ultimate sign that you are thinking differently, acting differently, and destined for impact beyond the ordinary. So when you feel the weight of isolation, when your brilliance seems unappreciated, remember this: your mind is a rare instrument, tuned for insight, clarity, and vision. Protect it, nourish it, celebrate it. The world may never fully understand you, and that is exactly why it will one day follow you. The misunderstood mind is not broken. It is powerful, resilient, and unstoppable, and the sooner you embrace that truth, the sooner you step into the extraordinary life that was always meant for you. Life is not measured by the number of people around you, but by the depth of the connections you hold. Yet, in a world obsessed with popularity, the smartest minds often feel out of place. They don't chase empty applause, superficial friendships, or fleeting attention. They understand an unshakable truth: one meaningful relationship outweighs 1,000 shallow ones. While others waste their energy trying to fit in, they focus on nurturing bonds that elevate, challenge, and inspire them. Every laugh, every conversation, every shared moment with someone who truly understands you is priceless, because quality, not quantity, shapes the life of the extraordinary. Think about the people who have left a mark on history. They weren't surrounded by crowds. They were surrounded by visionaries, mentors, and partners who matched their ambition and fueled their growth. Bill Gates didn't spend time networking with every acquaintance. He sought out the minds that sharpened his ideas, questioned his assumptions, and pushed him forward. The people around you should be catalysts, not anchors. They should challenge you, not distract you. They should expand your horizon, not shrink it. And this is a lesson the smartest people learn early. Not everyone deserves your time, your energy, or your trust. Choosing quality over quantity is not about elitism. It's about respect for your own potential. Every minute you spend with people who drain you, who belittle your dreams, or who drown you in mediocrity, is a minute stolen from your greatness. And greatness is never cheap. It demands focus, clarity, and intentionality. It demands surrounding yourself with those who share your standards, match your drive, and believe in the vision you see before it even exists. When you make this choice, when you refuse to settle for less than authentic, transformative connections, you create a circle that multiplies your potential and amplifies your impact. This principle applies not only to friendships but to every aspect of life: mentorship, collaboration, partnerships, even social media. The smartest people are deliberate. They don't scroll endlessly, hoping for validation. They curate their interactions, they choose experiences that elevate, and they invest in relationships that are rare and valuable. They understand that a single conversation with the right person can change the course of a life, while 1,000 meaningless exchanges accomplish nothing. And here's the motivation. When you prioritize quality, the world begins to recognize your value. You stop chasing approval and start attracting influence. You become magnetic, not because you try to be, but because your focus, integrity, and purpose shine brighter than any crowd. Solitude, in this context, is not loneliness. It is discernment. It is the space where you identify what matters, who matters, and where your energy will yield the greatest return. So embrace the power of selectivity. Protect your time, protect your mind, and protect your energy. Build relationships that challenge you, inspire you, and hold you accountable. Let go of the superficial. Let go of the noise. Choose the few who lift you higher, and watch as your life transforms, not by numbers, but by the extraordinary quality of those you allow into your world. Greatness is not found in popularity. It is cultivated in the company of the few who truly understand, respect, and amplify your vision. There is a power that the world often misunderstands, the power of standing on your own. While most people scramble for approval, validation, and constant guidance, the smartest minds learn early that true strength is born in self-reliance. It is the courage to trust your instincts when the crowd doubts you, the discipline to take action when no one is watching, and the resilience to rise after every failure without seeking permission or applause. Self-reliance is not just a trait. It is a lifestyle, a mindset, a declaration that you are capable of more than anyone else can imagine. When you rely on yourself, you tap into a force no one can take away. You stop waiting for opportunities to be handed to you and start creating them. You stop hoping for guidance and start trusting your own judgment, and every choice, every decision, every challenge you face alone becomes a stepping stone to greatness. The world will try to make you dependent on friends, mentors, luck, or fleeting trends, but those who master themselves and rely on their own vision become unstoppable. Because self-reliance is more than independence, it is freedom. Freedom from doubt, from distraction, from people who drain your energy and dilute your focus. Look at the stories of those who transformed the impossible into reality. Entrepreneurs, artists, athletes, and thinkers didn't wait for the world to support them. They forged their own path. They failed countless times. And every time they got back up, they got stronger, wiser, sharper. Self-reliance is the secret weapon of the extraordinary. It teaches you to embrace discomfort, to trust your instincts, and to lean on your own abilities, rather than seeking the temporary comfort of others' approval. It is in those moments of solitude, when no one else is watching, that your character is forged and your vision crystallizes. And make no mistake, self-reliance is not arrogance. It is humility in action. It is the recognition that your growth, your dreams, and your destiny are in your hands alone. When you master yourself, you do not fear failure. You welcome it as a teacher. You do not fear isolation. You embrace it as a source of clarity. You do not fear the unknown. You confront it with preparation, strategy, and confidence in your own abilities. Every challenge becomes a mirror, reflecting your strength back to you, and every victory, no matter how small, becomes proof that reliance on self is the ultimate form of empowerment. The motivation is clear. If you want to achieve greatness, you must trust yourself more than anyone else. You must cultivate the skills, the mindset, and the discipline that make your success inevitable, even when no one believes it is possible. Self-reliance turns obstacles into opportunities, doubts into determination, and isolation into a laboratory where brilliance is born. Stand tall in your solitude. Build your mind, your spirit, and your resilience. Protect your energy, sharpen your focus, and embrace the truth that your most powerful ally in life is not the crowd. It is you. The world may try to pull you into dependency, but remember this: the moment you fully embrace self-reliance, you unlock a level of freedom, confidence, and unstoppable force that no one can ever take away. Greatness begins with trusting yourself, believing in your vision, and walking your path boldly, alone if necessary, but never unsure. True brilliance is born in the quiet moments when the world isn't watching, when distractions fall away, and your mind is free to wander, explore, and create. The smartest people understand this instinctively. They know that deep thinking is not a luxury, it is a necessity. It is the engine that powers innovation, the crucible where ideas are forged, and the invisible force that transforms ordinary lives into extraordinary legacies. While others rush to fill every moment with noise, shallow chatter, and meaningless distractions, Those who think deeply carve out sacred space for their minds to expand, to question, and to imagine what others cannot even see. Creativity, at its highest level, is born from solitude. The mind needs time to process, to experiment, to stumble, and to discover solutions that are not obvious. Einstein once said that imagination is more important than knowledge, and he was right. Knowledge alone is static. It is the framework, the foundation. But imagination, the product of reflection and deep thinking, is what builds empires, solves impossible problems, and changes the course of humanity. And make no mistake, deep thinking is not easy. It requires discipline, courage, and the willingness to sit with uncertainty, to wrestle with complexity, and to confront ideas that challenge everything you thought you knew. When you embrace this practice, your mind becomes a powerhouse of innovation. You begin to see connections others miss. You begin to anticipate opportunities before they appear. You begin to transform obstacles into stepping stones. The world often rewards noise, superficial action, and quick fixes, but true creators, the ones who leave a mark that lasts, understand that mastery is born in patience, focus, and reflection. Every hour spent thinking deeply, writing down ideas, sketching solutions, or experimenting with new perspectives compounds into power, influence, and undeniable impact. Consider the countless stories of breakthroughs achieved in isolation. Artists, scientists, writers, and inventors all share one common thread. They refused to be satisfied with surface-level thinking. They questioned everything. They experimented relentlessly. They welcomed failure as a teacher and solitude as a mentor, and in doing so they unlocked creative heights that no crowd, no distraction, and no approval could have provided. This is the gift of deep thinking. It sharpens your mind, frees your imagination, and allows you to create work that resonates, inspires, and endures. The motivation is clear. If you want to stand out, you must cultivate the discipline to think deeply, to create boldly, and to explore ideas fearlessly. Protect your mind from the constant pull of distraction. Carve out time for reflection. Challenge yourself to question assumptions, to dive into complexity, and to trust your instincts. The world will try to keep you busy, distracted, and shallow, but the moment you commit to thinking deeply, you step onto a path of unparalleled creativity, insight, and influence. So embrace solitude not as isolation, but as liberation. Let your mind wander where others dare not go. Explore ideas others ignore. Dream bigger, think harder, and create work that only you are capable of producing. The world may never fully understand the depth of your thoughts, but that is the beauty of it. Your ideas, your creations, and your impact will speak for themselves, louder and longer than any crowd ever could. Deep thinking is not optional. It is the gateway to mastery, innovation, and greatness. The smartest people understand a truth that most ignore. Mastery over the mind begins with mastery over the heart. Emotional strength is not born from comfort. It is forged in the fires of challenge, rejection, and inner reflection. While the world chases fleeting pleasures and instant validation, intelligent minds invest in understanding themselves. They recognize that emotions, when uncontrolled, are chains that limit potential. But when harnessed, emotions become fuel that drives clarity, focus, creativity, and unshakable confidence. Emotional mastery is not a luxury, it is a superpower. Every extraordinary achievement begins with the ability to regulate your own responses. The world will test you relentlessly through criticism, betrayal, failure, and doubt. The smart person does not react impulsively. They pause, observe, and process. They feel deeply, yes, but they do not allow fleeting anger, fear, or insecurity to dictate action. They know that uncontrolled reactions are the enemies of progress. The power lies in responding intentionally, in converting frustration into focus, disappointment into determination, and pain into a catalyst for growth. Emotional mastery also requires courage. The courage to face yourself honestly, to confront your weaknesses without shame, and to transform them into strengths. Most people avoid their own reflection because it forces them to face uncomfortable truths. The brightest minds embrace these truths. They journal, meditate, reflect, and analyze. They understand that self-awareness is the foundation of emotional intelligence, and emotional intelligence is the foundation of extraordinary achievement. They learn to identify triggers, break destructive patterns, and replace reactive habits with conscious strategic responses. And here is the most powerful insight: emotional mastery fuels independence. It allows you to detach your self-worth from the approval of others, to protect your energy from negativity, and to pursue your vision without distraction. The smartest people do not seek constant affirmation because they have learned to validate themselves internally. They do not crumble under criticism because they know their purpose is bigger than any single opinion. Their resilience is rooted in their ability to regulate emotions, maintain composure, and act decisively even when chaos surrounds them. Think of the leaders, innovators, and creators who have shaped the world. What separated them from the crowd was not luck or talent alone. It was their capacity to control their emotional state. They harnessed anxiety into preparation, doubt into reflection, and setbacks into strategy. Emotional mastery allowed them to think clearly under pressure, to innovate under constraint, and to persist when others would have quit. The motivation is undeniable. If you want to achieve greatness, you must command your emotions. Learn to pause before reacting. Learn to transform negative feelings into energy for action. Learn to protect your mind and heart from distractions, toxicity, and unnecessary stress. Emotional mastery is the bridge between intelligence and achievement, between potential and impact. So embrace the power within. Own your feelings, understand your triggers, and convert every emotional challenge into a weapon for growth. The world may throw chaos, conflict, and doubt at you, but when you master your emotions, nothing can shake you. You become unstoppable, unbreakable, and undeniable. True strength is not only in thought or skill, it is in the mastery of your own inner world. The world is filled with people moving in unison, following trends, repeating what they hear, and seeking approval for every choice they make. Most minds settle into the comfort of the herd, afraid to question, afraid to stand out, afraid to challenge the familiar. But the smartest people know that following the crowd is the fastest route to mediocrity. True greatness demands courage, the courage to think independently, to act differently, and to resist the seductive pull of conformity. Avoiding the herd is not rebellion for the sake of rebellion. It is the conscious decision to honor your own vision, your own principles, and your own potential. Herd mentality is subtle, yet powerful. It whispers that fitting in is safer, that acceptance is validation, that comfort is more important than growth. The world will constantly try to mold you into the expectations of others, to limit your ideas, and to discourage your bold moves. But intelligent minds refuse to be guided by fear or approval. They recognize that every time you surrender your judgment to the masses, you surrender a piece of your destiny. Avoiding the herd is about reclaiming your autonomy and choosing a path that aligns with your purpose, even if it means walking alone. Consider the visionaries who transformed the impossible into reality. They were ridiculed, doubted, and often ostracized because their ideas did not fit conventional thinking. Jobs, Musk, Curie, and countless others were labeled as dreamers, rebels, or outliers, but they understood a fundamental truth: following the herd produces followers, not leaders. Every groundbreaking idea begins as a solitary thought, a vision others cannot yet comprehend. The herd may laugh, resist, or dismiss, but it is the independent thinker who has the courage to pursue the extraordinary. Avoiding the herd also requires mental discipline. It demands that you cultivate clarity about your values, goals, and priorities. It means learning to recognize distractions, toxic influences, and societal pressures that seek to pull you off course. The smartest people are selective. They do not adopt opinions blindly, nor do they imitate success superficially. They study, reflect, and decide intentionally. Every decision is a deliberate choice to move closer to their vision, rather than to blend in with the crowd. And here is the ultimate motivation: When you break free from herd mentality, you unlock your creative power, your strategic vision, and your ability to lead. Independence is magnetic. People are drawn to those who think differently, act boldly, and pursue purpose relentlessly. When you resist the pull of the crowd, you no longer measure your worth by numbers, likes, or superficial approval. You measure it by impact, innovation, and the life you are building. So embrace your uniqueness. Stand tall in your convictions, even when others question or ridicule you. Walk the path that aligns with your vision, not the path dictated by popular opinion. Greatness is never a collective comfort. It is the reward of those who dare to rise above, think differently, and act with courage. The herd will always exist, but your choice is clear. Will you follow or will you lead? The smartest people understand a truth that the world often overlooks. The most powerful relationship you will ever have is the one with yourself. Loving your own company is not about loneliness or isolation. It is about self-respect, self-discovery, and the freedom to fully embrace your potential without dependency on anyone else. While most people fear being alone, seeking constant validation, approval, or companionship, those who thrive know that true power is cultivated in the moments you spend with yourself. Solitude is not a void, it is a playground for your mind, a laboratory for your soul, and a canvas for your dreams. When you learn to love your own company, you gain clarity. You stop seeking answers externally because you know they reside within. You stop seeking approval because you recognize your self-worth is innate, unshakable, and independent of others' opinions. You stop fearing silence because silence becomes your ally, your time to reflect, strategize, and grow. The smartest people use solitude intentionally. They read, they journal, they plan, they dream, they confront their fears, and cultivate their strengths. Every moment alone becomes a tool, a resource, a stepping stone toward the life they are destined to create. Consider the profound freedom that comes from self-reliance in social and emotional spaces. You are no longer swayed by peer pressure, criticism, or the fleeting moods of others. You choose your experiences deliberately. You engage in relationships consciously. You surround yourself with people and environments that elevate your mind rather than drain your energy. This freedom, born from loving your own company, empowers you to create without compromise, to pursue goals without distraction, and to live a life aligned fully with your purpose. And here is the deeper insight. Loving your own company builds resilience. When you are comfortable being alone, you are no longer afraid of setbacks, rejections, or periods of uncertainty. You understand that your value is inherent and independent of external circumstances. You learn to celebrate your achievements privately, reflect on failures constructively, and cultivate a mindset that thrives even when support is scarce. This inner strength becomes magnetic. Others are drawn to it. Opportunities find you. You no longer chase connection. You attract it naturally, authentically, and powerfully. Practical steps to embrace this power are simple but transformative. Carve out time for yourself every day. Explore activities that nourish your mind and soul. Develop hobbies and skills that excite you, and practice reflection through journaling or meditation. Learn to sit in silence without discomfort. Allow your thoughts to flow, your creativity to emerge, and your intuition to guide you. The moments you spend alone are not wasted. They are investments in the most important asset you will ever have, yourself. So embrace your solitude. Fall in love with the person you are becoming. Celebrate your independence. Nurture your inner world, and recognize that the greatest life is built not by filling your time with noise, but by mastering the art of being fully, powerfully, and joyfully alone. In your own company, you will find clarity, freedom, and the unstoppable energy needed to conquer your dreams and rise above every challenge. Solitude is not emptiness, it is empowerment. The smartest people understand a truth that the world often overlooks. The most powerful relationship you will ever have is the one with yourself. Loving your own company is not about loneliness or isolation. It is about self-respect, self-discovery, and the freedom to fully embrace your potential without dependency on anyone else. While most people fear being alone, seeking constant validation, approval, or companionship, those who thrive know that true power is cultivated in the moments you spend with yourself. Solitude is not a void. It is a playground for your mind, a laboratory for your soul, and a canvas for your dreams. When you learn to love your own company, you gain clarity. You stop seeking answers externally because you know they reside within. You stop seeking approval because you recognize your self-worth is innate, unshakable, and independent of others' opinions. You stop fearing silence because silence becomes your ally, your time to reflect, strategize, and grow. The smartest people use solitude intentionally. They read, they journal, they plan, they dream, they confront their fears and cultivate their strengths. Every moment alone becomes a tool, a resource, a stepping stone toward the life they are destined to create. Consider the profound freedom that comes from self-reliance in social and emotional spaces. You are no longer swayed by peer pressure, criticism, or the fleeting moods of others. You choose your experiences deliberately. You engage in relationships consciously. You surround yourself with people and environments that elevate your mind rather than drain your energy. This freedom, born from loving your own company, empowers you to create without compromise, to pursue goals without distraction, and to live a life aligned fully with your purpose. And here is the deeper insight: loving your own company builds resilience. When you are comfortable being alone, you are no longer afraid of setbacks, rejections, or periods of uncertainty. You understand that your value is inherent and independent of external circumstances. You learn to celebrate your achievements privately, reflect on failures constructively, and cultivate a mindset that thrives even when support is scarce. This inner strength becomes magnetic. Others are drawn to it. Opportunities find you. You no longer chase connection. You attract it naturally, authentically, and powerfully. Practical steps to embrace this power are simple but transformative. Carve out time for yourself every day. Explore activities that nourish your mind and soul. Develop hobbies and skills that excite you, and practice reflection through journaling or meditation. Learn to sit in silence without discomfort. Allow your thoughts to flow, your creativity to emerge, and your intuition to guide you. The moments you spend alone are not wasted. They are investments in the most important asset you will ever have, yourself. So embrace your solitude. Fall in love with the person you are becoming. Celebrate your independence. Nurture your inner world, and recognize that the greatest life is built not by filling your time with noise, but by mastering the art of being fully, powerfully, and joyfully alone. In your own company, you will find clarity, freedom, and the unstoppable energy needed to conquer your dreams and rise above every challenge. Solitude is not emptiness, it is empowerment. Solitude is not a void to fear, it is a powerhouse to harness. The smartest people understand that being alone is not a limitation. It is a strategy, a crucible, and a training ground for greatness. Every moment spent in solitude is an opportunity to sharpen your mind, fortify your spirit, and refine your vision. While the world fears silence, distraction, and stillness, those who embrace solitude transform it into their greatest strength. They don't simply survive alone, they thrive, they innovate, and they prepare for impact that the crowd cannot yet imagine. Think about it. When you are alone, there is no external noise dictating your thoughts, no opinions clouding your judgment, no distractions stealing your energy. Solitude allows you to confront your weaknesses honestly, to explore your ideas fully, and to cultivate the resilience necessary to rise above any challenge. The smartest people use this time intentionally. They learn skills, study their craft, strategize their path, and push themselves harder than anyone else ever could. Solitude becomes a gym for the mind and soul, where every hour spent alone compounds into mental clarity, emotional strength, and unstoppable confidence. There is a transformative power in turning isolation into fuel. Every setback becomes a lesson. Every criticism becomes insight. Every failure becomes a blueprint for future success. When you rely on yourself, you no longer need external validation to measure your worth. Your progress, your discipline, and your vision become your compass. Solitude teaches patience, focus, and the ability to act deliberately rather than react impulsively. It is in these quiet moments that the smartest people build resilience that crowds cannot shake and determination that circumstances cannot break. Look at those who changed the world. They were often misunderstood, ridiculed, and left to their own devices. And yet, in their solitude, they found clarity, developed strategies, and executed visions that seemed impossible to others. Steve Jobs retreated into focus to develop revolutionary products. Nikola Tesla spent countless hours alone, envisioning technologies that would redefine the future. The lesson is clear. Greatness is rarely born from crowds. It is forged in the quiet, disciplined pursuit of excellence when no one else is watching. The motivation is undeniable. If you want to achieve extraordinary results, you must learn to see solitude as your ally. Protect it, value it, fill it with learning, reflection, and creative exploration. Use it to sharpen your mind, strengthen your resilience, and cultivate the discipline that separates the ordinary from the remarkable. Solitude is not emptiness, it is preparation. It is the environment in which your potential is realized and your purpose is clarified. So embrace your time alone with intensity and purpose. Harness it to build skills, plan your path, and grow into the version of yourself capable of extraordinary impact. The world will always have noise, distractions, and opinions, but when you turn solitude into strength, you operate on a level beyond it all. Your independence, focus, and relentless drive become unstoppable forces. Solitude is not a pause, it is your launch pad. Use it, master it, and let it propel you toward the life you were born to create.